What's going on, family? It's Brother Coasty at IALLG.com, and I'm excited to get this story to you all today. Before we do that, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors, T. I got a concoction of burdock, yellow dock, and elderberry. Very good for cleaning the blood, helping the lungs, just getting in a overall cleaner terrain for the body. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. And it's all about how stories impact your life. If you all have been following my channel, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share this with somebody. I promise you they need it, or tag them below. This is very profound knowledge. And if you guys have been following me, you understand I love learning. Like I either watch YouTubes, I meditate to get some downloads, or I read books. As you guys can see, I love learning. I enjoy it because my father told me this, and everybody knows it more or less, but you learn to earn. You learn to earn. My dad preached that. I'm gonna tell you how he said it. He had a very bellowing voice. It wasn't necessarily deep, but it was hard. He was in the Marine Corps, so he would say it like this: Jordan, you got to learn to earn. And he had a very strong habit of holding out the end of these sentences, like learn to earn. Or if he told me no, it'd be like no. And I'm just sharing some stuff with you all so you guys can get, I want you all to get comfortable with me and relax just a little bit. But I love learning. I love knowledge. And this is what the newest thing that I've learned today. And it made me go boom. And the reason why I love learning as well is because it doesn't necessarily always teach me something new, but it teaches me a new way of viewing the things that I already know and being able to explain it and present it to you all in a way that you all can understand, or it's easily digestible, right? Instead of having to go through the long, arduous process of reading a book, looking up all these different words or definitions that aren't always readily known, I can give it to you in an easy, digestible format. So let's get with today. Today's topic is all about how stories impact your life. And this is the biggest thing, right? So we're going to go, before we dive into that, we have to give the preface, or the before start, before we go into the meat and potatoes, right? And it's all about authority. Authority. And a lot of people have an authority complex, right? They don't like listening to authority. And let's dive into that for just a moment, right? Why don't people like listening to authority? The answer is typically because they don't feel like they're in control. And they don't feel that this authority has their best interest in heart. So I don't want to listen to that authority. And even the people that are quote unquote rebellious, it's not that they don't like authority. They don't believe that that authority has their best interest at heart, or they feel that they are impeding on something that they would like for themselves. Authority, right? Let's do a thought experiment for just a moment. I want you to just breathe. Authority. What did you feel? What did you feel? I want you to just check in with yourself and think about, when you hear the word authority, what comes to mind? What do you feel? What do you think? Do you tense up anywhere? Do your shoulders rise? What happens when you hear the word authority? This is very important for today's discussion because authority is the roots of everything. Authority is the roots of everything, y'all. And today's discussion won't be too long, actually, because it's not too complex. It's on my site. If you haven't visited IALLG.com, especially my bio, I talk about truths. Truths are simple. Sometimes I go a little longer than maybe need be because I want to make sure you understand fully. But truths are simple. Truths are not complex. I don't have to use large words or complex words to show you a truth. Now, sometimes we have to use large examples so that you can understand the truth, but truths are very simple. And so, with that, authority is the roots of everything that's going on in your life. Authority is, right? So now let's go over here, and then we're going to build a bridge, which is the meat and potatoes over here, right? We talked about how authority, sometimes it rubs you the wrong way, or sometimes people salute the authority. They like the authority because they feel that they have their best interest at heart. Sometimes they feel that they can do things better for themselves than they can for themselves, right? So some people like the government because they feel that the government would do a better job at managing their lives than they would at their own lives. Some people don't want to go down the route of owning a business because their job, that authority, is better at conducting income producing activities than they would for themselves. So there's two poles when it comes to authority. Some people don't like it and some people love it. And it all comes down to control and responsibility. Authority is a combination of control and responsibility. The less responsible you like to be, typically, the less control you have, and the more you tend to lean towards authority. And the more responsible you'd like to be and the more control you'd like to have, typically the further away you want to be from authority, right? And there's people all in between, like depending on what we're talking about. You might like authority, you might not. It's a spectrum, right? It's a pole, and you go back and forth on the pole. But this is such an important stuff: responsibility and control, right? So let's dig, and then we're gonna be done, right? So responsibility. Why? Person would get called back. Sorry about that, y'all. Responsibility is the ability, or your ability, to take care of yourself, to respond to life's circumstances in the life environment. It's your ability to respond, responsibility, right? That's what responsibility is all about, your ability to respond. And then control. Control is the managing of your own actions. Control is the managing of your own actions, right? So depending on your ability to respond and managing your own actions will be determined on how much authority you have in your own life, right? So if you're not very good at responding, you tend to be less responsible, not by because you want to be, but more so because you may be lacking skills. And sometimes when you feel like you're out of control of your life, it's typically because you're not managing your your responsibilities, right? Let's go ahead and make this synthesis, this bridge. I hope this is making sense for you all because it's making sense in my head. But mind to mouth is typically lost in translation somewhere, some way, somehow. When it comes to how stories impact your life, let's talk about stories for just a second. You'll see the bridge. Somebody who writes a story, what are they called? An author. The person who writes the story is an author, and you are the reader. And what happens when you get wrapped up in a good story or a story that you want to read? You get into that story. You couldn't tell somebody, nobody could tell you that that story is fake, it's real to you, right? And it's not because you're reading a book, but because you chose to agree with the author. Okay, I hope y'all see it. And if not, here we go. Author, authority. Author, authority. So when it comes to your own life, you must become the author. A lot of the times people don't like authority because they don't like the story that the authority, the author, is presenting to them. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that so simple? Let's talk about it from not an external perspective, but from an internal perspective. Some people don't want to have authority over their lives, which is the combination of responsibility and control, because of the stories that they've told themselves and the stories that they've written about their experiences. This is something that I teach in my mentorship programs and in my sessions with my clients. Is it's all about your narrative for you in your life. We turn pain into passion because you rewrite the story. You embody your authorship. You embody being an author. You therefore become the authority on your life. Isn't that beautiful, y'all? Stories impact your life because when you agree to the story, when you dive into the story, you become subject to the author, and you believe the story when you are subject to the author. So now you can apply that directly to your life. What is the story on your life right now? What is the story that you're telling yourself? What are the stories that you believe about your life, whether they're from you or from other people? This is powerful stuff, you all. And this is directly how stories impact your life. And they say there's always three sides to a story: their side, your side, and the truth. In this version, the truth is whatever you believe. Your side is your past experiences, your past conditionings. And their side is again whatever you believe about it, and you're able to pick and choose how you want to see those stories, so it impacts you in a more positive, a more empowering way. You can choose to see the tragedies that you've been in as negative, as damaging, as hurtful, as painful, or you can see them as training grounds for experiences that you had to go through to understand your true purpose for being here. They were learning experiences. It's all up to you, and you can have any story in between. But that is how stories impact your life, because you become the authority, because you are the author. And what do authors do? They write. They write stories, and you could begin to rewrite your story for your life. I hope you all understand this. It's so beautiful, y'all. But this is Brother Coasty at IALLG.com. And as always, I want to offer you an invitation to work on your dreams, to learn how to rewrite your stories for life. It's not necessarily a difficult thing, but it's not easy because it's not simple, right? It's not, it's whether it's simple, but it can be quite difficult. It's not complex, but it can be difficult because you have to learn to realize when you're actually telling a story, right? You have to be able to realize when you're telling a story, and that involves an expanded awareness. And the deeper work that comes with that is learning to become assertive with your new story, not just to yourself, but to others. Because people will continue the same narrative, the same story, even though you're the author and you've rewritten the book. If you'd like some help on that, some one-on-one help, or you'd like to join my group hybrid mentorship program, I want you to reach out to me at IALLG.com. And I'll see you then. Until then, this is Brother Coasty. We're always building bridges within to explore the world without. Peace.